Welcome, everybody. It is build day, and today we're building something I think quite special. We're building the Encore by Musings, which you might be able to make out embossed on the box there. There's a wood texture on the box, but it's white on white, so it's kind of hard to say. But this is a keyboard by Mr. Matthew Encina, Musings, as many of you may know him, and produced by friends of the channel, Mode Keyboards. Super cool. Obligatory, I am affiliated with Mode. If you purchase something from Mode, possibly even this keyboard, using my affiliate link, which you can find in the places, I get a small kickback. But otherwise, I don't get to keep this keyboard. I do have early access to it. I am sending it along very shortly to another creator for them to review it. So that's what's up there. The very exciting thing to me about having this keyboard in my presence is that I also still have my 65 prototype here. They're in much less of a hurry to get this back. And these boards internally are identical. They share, mechanically, they share a set of internals, the same lattice and top mount, options, plates, PCBs, etc., etc., etc. All of that's the same. It's the outside form of the device that is different and the materials used. So you may remember if you watched my 65 build that I had a polycarbonate bottom. At the meetup shortly after that, I traded Jacob, one of the Mode co-founders, for an aluminum bottom, because in this box I have the black aluminum top, black aluminum bottom, walnut wood Encore. So now these are going to be as similarly matched as possible materials-wise. There's going to be some sound tests at the end of this video comparing the two of them, and as close to an apples-apples comparison as you're going to get in terms of materials. I've got the palm plate in the 65. They also sent me a carbon fiber. We'll crack this open in a second. So we'll have a couple plate options, couple mounting styles, comparing the two of them. Should be pretty cool. Really excited about that. Bit about Matthew. First of all, I started watching his videos about 2 years ago. Until then, really. It was a desk setup type of video, a genre I enjoy from time to time, and he was talking about the beginning of his journey with keyboards at the time. It's kind of funny to see his collection then. I went and rewatched that video versus today. It's changed a lot, which it should. Keyboards, generally speaking, are quite the journey. We'd been kind of chatting online intermittently, mostly on Instagram DMs, actually, just commenting on each other's stuff. He kind of became a fan of the technical nature of my videos. I'm a huge fan of the aesthetic nature of his. We met at Keyb Life last year for the first time, and then really we chatted quite a bit at KeyCon this year, which was awesome. And between the SF Bay Area meetup and KeyCon, we arranged getting me one of these bad boys while I still have the 65. So huge thank you to Matthew for including me on the journey of his first keyboard, and thank you to Mode for letting me keep my 65 for a little longer and getting this bad boy over to me to look at. So and then in addition, for this video, similar to, I want to say, my Envoy video, maybe the Tempo, I forget, I collected questions from my community via one of those Instagram story things and a couple Discords I've been asking around. So I've got some community questions for this video. The first one is the obligatory, how dare you? I guess Mode appreciates my content, and I conned them into trusting me with 2 prototypes at once. And the second one is, because it's called the Encore, what songs will it be playing? Very funny. All the songs will sound a little something like this. So, getting into this then, let's open it up. As I mentioned, the embossing on this, I feel badly it's not showing up on camera. Maybe it'll show on the B cam with a slightly stronger lighting angle, but it's got a wood emboss or deboss, I always forget. It says Encore, and then it's a 65% mechanical keyboard on it. Some lovely metallic badges from Mode and Matthew. This one says by design, not by default, which is Matthew's mantra, we'll call it. And then it says designed by Musings, produced by Mode Designs on that end. All of this embossing is quite soft. It would not surprise me if this is better on the production ones. That's usually something you have to tune pretty carefully. So in the box, simple lid off procedure. nothing crazy there. Oh, and the beverage of the stream, I got a blast from Taco Bell. So one of the best beverages in the world. Inside the box, I just have a chunk of foam up top here. If you purchase one of these, will have a box. This is where all your accessories will be. This is just prototype packaging, so bit of foam there. We'll come back to the ancillary stuff in a moment. So all that remains in mine is the keyboard itself, which we will come back to, or I guess the chassis. And then all of these boards are also going to come with a signed and numbered authenticity card. This is unit 2 of 200. This is going to be a limited run board, but it says a little bit about it there. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Feel free to pause. It's got his signature and it's hand numbered. And then there'll of course be a build guide as usual with mode. The similarities to the 65 do not end with the internals. The build is actually super duper similar. And we will get to that as the video progresses here, but let's open this up. I've only opened this far enough to make sure I wasn't going to dox myself and make sure all my parts were here, and all the parts for the next creator. I'm partially assembling their build for them. But our typical little mode sleeve, as we're used to here. And then a little peekaroonie. There you can see the metal on wood. I've not seen this all the way out yet, so we're doing this together. Oh, it is in there. Might need to do a different size of this for the production one, but whapa! There you go. Ooh, yes. So I'm a huge fan of walnut wood. My workbench here is maple or oak. I forget. Birch, maybe? Whatever. It's what came with this workbench. My desk that I sit at all day is walnut, and as is this, and this is beautiful. So the way they accomplish this is the aluminum top and wood part of the top are made, and then they are hand finished as a single unit. So like there's no, other than the texture of the material, there's not like a gap here. I apologize for the fingerprints on black. I know I have warm and kind of oily hands. That's awesome. And then you get to see it all the way from the back as well. And then this divot. This divot actually threw me off quite a bit. Or not divot, I think it's a recess. There's a nice term for it. I wonder if this will show from the side. Ooh, maybe not. It's also just hard on a blackboard. There's a copper bottom version. Oh, actually, no, right there. Okay, so you see how there's like a fine gradient going from like where my fingertip is towards the center of the board? I thought this cavity was going to be... Oh, I just noticed no mode logo. Just Matthews. Cool. Is it on the back? No. Nice. Love that. This has a fillet in here, or an edge blend, depending on your school of thought. It's much deeper, kind of like the tempo, where like the front fillets, chamfers in that case, were quite deep in like the inner direction, but then vertically were quite shallow. This fillet is much the same. I thought this pocket was way deeper than it is. It's just a millimeter or two compared to the flat outer surface here. This is such a beautiful design thing. It caught my eye in the photos, and then seeing it in person at Keycon. Oh boy. It threw me off how shallow it is, but I really like it. And there's actually a slight fillet towards the top as well. So as you run your finger across this, it's a continuous surface with just that little bit of depth to it. Then the whole thing has an edge blend across the back into a little pocket back here where you find your USB-C connector and everything. So you have these quite angular kind of slab-on wedge sides, but then on the bottom you get this lovely rounded feature. Wow, that catches the light in a really, really cool way. Yeah, just kind of cool back look too with the recess. It almost looks like it's more pieces than it is. That's great. And then the most notable feature on the front edge, here's something we haven't seen on a mode keyboard yet, is a cherry lip. This little front edge, this is reminiscent of some cherry keyboards from the 80s. It's called a cherry lip. One of the first questions here that's not a bit is the quality of the wood the same as the accents? So Musings has worked with mode before on getting white oak accents into their rotation. I would say it's hard to tell because those are always small quite small pieces of wood, and this is quite broad. It's really good quality. I don't know if it's better or worse than the accents, but it's good. It's a nice hard wood that's been finished nicely. Someone was wondering how the texture is and could I do a splinter test. I mean, I have no fear rubbing my hand across the grain here. Everything's very nicely finished. There's not like a fillet or a chamfer on the corners. The edge is just broken off, which is, I think, perfect. You get the nice boxy form still. And someone did ask how the mouthfeel of the wood is and how it tastes. This is going to someone else, so I will not be putting this keyboard in my mouth. And then that leads into the question I thought I was getting to, but I missed the wood ones, is the front height as high as it looks? Now, this also tripped me up in the pictures, and the front of the keyboard looks quite tall. But if we switch to the side, the B camera here, you can see, no, not really. I mean, I don't think so. The other thing we can do here, since we have the 65, we can just put them real close to each other. Yeah, no, I think the 65 either has the illusion of being taller because it doesn't have the cherry lip on it, or actually is just a hair taller. I'm actually going to go with maybe just a hair taller for the 65. I think what makes the Encore look tall is the cherry lip gives it quite a bit of dimensionality on the front, but then you've got like this undercut here on the side as well. That I hope shows up well since it's black on black. So is it as high as it looks? No, it does not look as tall to me as it does in the photos on the website. That was actually the first thing I noticed seeing these at KeyCon, is that the height is not nearly what it looks like in the images. Let me actually stand both of these up as well here so that the top-down camera can provide, no pun intended, an additional perspective on this. You will notice that the 65 is sitting lower than the Encore by about a finger's height. The bezels on the Encore are significantly more big. That fell apart. So if I kind of line them up there so that the top of the cherry lip and the front of the 65 are together, for my money, those are damn near the same height. Yeah. No, I don't think it is as high as it looks in the pictures. So there you go, the first comparison of many. So moving on to what else is well, actually, colorways. Let's talk about colorways for a second. This is the black walnut black configuration. There's also black white oak black, a much lighter wood, typical of what you'd see in Matthew's studio. He's a big oak fan. Then there's white oak, and copper, full copper bottom, very heavy, very sharp. It's a good look. And then there's also a green walnut copper. So there's 2 copper bottoms, 2 aluminum bottoms, 2 walnuts, 2 oaks, and then some variation in the top color. The question I got is, what's the best colorway in my opinion? I mean, I like black and walnut. Like, I picked this one on purpose. That being said, the white oak and copper looks awesome. The contrast is very cool. But having seen it in person, the green walnut copper looks really, really nice. Green and copper go well together to begin with. I mean, copper patinas to green given time. And the green against the walnut are awesome. All those pictures are on the site. I'll link to the mini site in the normal place. So, I mean, both of those are very strong. I really like the black on walnut. But either of the copper bottom ones are also quite striking to me. I actually think the black with white oak is too high contrast, personally. Again, I'm also not a huge oak fan. Aesthetically, I'm sure it's a structurally fine wood. I have no beef there. But there's something about this. And it's walnut. You know, I'm a sucker for walnut. So I would say either copper config. I really like this one. And then sort of a follow-up question to that, is there a wood or metal pairing you wish we'd see, or we kind of covering all the bases? I couldn't think of any combinations we haven't seen yet that I would like to see. I also feel like white and walnut would be too high contrast, kind of like how I think white oak and black is too high contrast. It could be interesting with like less walnut on a white product to embrace the contrast but not have it be so shocking. I think for only having 4 colorways, with 2 types of wood and 2 types of bottom. Matthew made a very nice spread of colorways for the launch of this product, so nothing jumps to mind as we're building. We'll see. Maybe I think of something. The only one I kind of did think of is like a wine burgundy color with walnut could be kind of cool. I wouldn't say visualizing color combinations of things is like a strong skill of mine. I'm really bad at estimating the size of crowds as well, as long as I'm being vulnerable. I'll guess that like, oh, there were like a couple hundred people at that event last night. No, it was thousands of people. It's not my strong suit. But so questions from here are about the build process. So let's start digging into that. Kind of what we're going to be doing here is deconstructing my 65 and then reconstructing it in my Encore, because again, they have the same internals, and that way we can kind of look at everything together as we go. So I'm going to pop off my accent on my 65 here. There are 4 external screws to get into a 65, and there are 4 external screws to get into a Encore. I just realized we did not open the accessory box. Whoopsie. I was like, oh, I'm not going to use mine. There's a screwdriver, I'm going to use mine, but I haven't even shown you what it comes with yet. So again, all this will be in the main box in your product. This is just prototype packaging. So in the box, you of course get your top and bottom. You get some die-cut force break foam pads. We'll come back to this when it's time. You get your daughter board and PCB. They included a hot swap with mine. I'm simply going to be using my Envoy PCB again. That's currently in my 65. I think it's an amazing thing Mode has accomplished. That one PCB works in now 3 different of their keyboards. Pretty cool. But you do, of course, get PCB and daughter board included. I'm just going to shuffle mine out of the way here. You get your screwdriver bits and hardware. The actual kits will also include the screwdriver and keycap switch puller as typical. So there is that. More stick-in feet, not stick-on. So no adhesive here, just press-in feet. And then your full suite of lattice blocks, including the new top mount block that came out with the 65 2024 version. So all very cool. Plate. Again, I got a carbon fiber here. We're going to build with the polypropylene plates that I have for my 65. This will be in the sound tests, though. And then you also get an acoustic foam kit. This includes case plate and PCB foam, typical from Mode. I won't be using any of them unless I build this. I'm like, oh my god, this really needs some kind of foam, but we will discover that together. So that's what you get. I'm going to leave all my little accessory baggies out because we're eventually going to need all of them anyway. So why put stuff back in a box? You know what I mean? Cool. So let's get these 4 screws out of the back of the 65 first. So again, since last time you've seen the 65, I went from a polycarbonate to a aluminum bottom to make these tests as close as possible. They're still not perfect, obviously. That's kind of the point, though, with these ones, is to show what a similarly spec'd 65 and Encore sound like. So aluminum top, aluminum bottom. Obviously there's nothing on the 65 that's comparable to having that wood rim around the top of the, or bezel, I suppose is probably a more charitable name for it. Rim just sounds cheap, I don't know why. Bezel on the top of the Encore, you just can't really emulate that. So there you go. The next question on here is what's the total number of screws? We do have different heights or different lengths of screw for the top and bottom on the Encore, so worth noting. It appears to be the same number, 4 for the case, 4 for the daughter board, and then if you're doing top mount, I suppose 5 for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I guess you could unscrew your piece of wood. There's 6 screws for that, if you wanted to. But what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 13? Yeah, 13 screws. Same as a 65 would be, assuming your... oh boy, totally forgot that was going to come off. I didn't rip the daughter board off this time. I did that to my loop I still feel a little bad. If you're not messing with this, it is the same number of screws. If you are going to change out your badge or weight on your 65, that's an additional as many as 6 screws. So sub 20 for both of them, significantly sub 20 for the Encore. So that was terrifying. Let me gently remove that. That could have been a disastrous start to this and made this a much longer video than it needed to be. I guess we'll look at bottoms. Bottoms are both sitting here. Let me stay consistent here with the Encore being on top. So these are both aluminum bottoms. The Encore bottom is anodized aluminum or copper, depending on your model. This one's E-coated aluminum for the white, and then it's the black and silver mirror badges on the inside, badge and weight rather. Basically identical daughter board position. Oh, interesting, no ribbing on the inside of this to account for the hot swap sockets like the Encore has. Now let me see on Mode's site. This is a prototype 65 bottom as well, so that may not be what you would get. 65, extra parts, bottom case. Mode may only have pictures of the outside of the bottom case on the site. That appears to be the case. Haha, case. 65. Let's see if in the press images this has the ribbing on the bottom. It may not need it. There may be enough internal space that they determined there is not any ribbing needed. Although I am also having trouble finding the polycarbonate one in the press images doesn't have it. I think those are actual pictures that O-Type took. I'm not seeing it in the press images either, actually, so this might just have a enough air gap that they can do a fully smooth bottom. These ribs are here to maintain material and strength, but give space for either hot swap sockets or your legs sticking out of your switches room to move because of how bouncy these keyboards are. Also apparent now is how big the bezel difference is. You can see like this like whisper thin bezel on the 65, and the Encore is, you know, better part of a centimeter. Otherwise, internal geometry is very similar. We even have the same dips for stabilizers from the PCB. We do have little pockets here for the bottom of the lattice blocks that are not visible or are not present on the 65. Yeah. Again, you know, the internals of the board are the same. They should not be, or there shouldn't be many surprises, rather, I should say, on the inside of the board. And actually, look, I've just got the tops off camera here, looking at them while I'm unscrewing the daughter board here to move it over. The Encore is actually simpler on the inside in a lot of ways. The 65 is so... they've taken all the material out of it that they can to make it as small and light as possible. So, and the Encore, they did not. It's a much more substantial board. So, weight was a question I got. Does that say 0 grams? It does say 0 grams. So this is the aluminum bottom. It is 632 grams. If I multiply that by 3.32, I should get about the weight of the copper, which would be 2 kilograms. That sounds about right. 2.1 kilograms. So significantly heavier if you go with the copper. This is a big piece of material. Assuming the aluminum and copper bottoms have the same internal geometry and they didn't remove any extra material from the copper, I don't see why they would. That would be more expensive for them in both machine time and material waste. So, you know, doubt that that's the case. Let's compare it to this guy. And this actually has a bit of extra weight to it because of the black mirror weight. And it's 538. So if you're doing all aluminum config, the Encore is going to be heavier than the 65, which makes sense. Bigger bezels. No real surprise there. So, yeah, that is a pretty substantial difference, though, with how much aluminum there is here, though, going from 0.6 kilograms to 2.1 kilograms with that material change. So if you want a heavy 65, boy, that's going to do it. I tell you what, you have no shortage of mass there. So I think that answers the bottom weight question. Put the scale out of the way. This is one of those builds where there's a lot of stuff in the workshop to do everything smoothly here. So let me get this daughter board transferred over here. Look at my next question here. Total number of screws, we did that. Next one, how easy is it to modify the mounting style compared to the 65? Is one quicker or simpler to disassemble? PCB. Let me extract that out of the 65 here. Nope, shouldn't have second guessed myself. 1.5? 1.5. And this is a very timely next question. Is the PCB pre-tested? Obviously, y'all are pre-testing me. Always, 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 always test your PCBs. Always, just test your PCB. Test your stabilizers too. It saves you time if something's wrong. I don't understand why people don't test them. So obviously that person, that was a bit, I know who asked that, they're toying with me. Is it pre-tested? No. Test it. Test your PCB. Just in case, you never know. But I am going to be using my Encore PCB. As I said, why am I trying to get those to sit back in there? Those are just going to fall out. Let me put that off to the side. Oh, I guess actually I could weigh just the top, although that's really not going to be a fair comparison. Maybe I weigh the top and the accent just to give it a fighting chance of being even close. So 0 grams. That's an aluminum top, weighs 225 grams. With accent 342. So that's going to be fairly representative. And this one is, oh wow, 297. Okay, so actually the accent does make a big difference there in terms of weight. The majority of the weight difference in this board is going to be in the bottom, depending on your accent configuration with the 65. If you have an aluminum accent, less of a difference. But hey, there you go. Learning. So, let's see here. I was going for this bag. I just realized I should probably keep the 65 screws with the 65. It probably doesn't matter, and in fact should not matter, but these are both prototypes. And again, this Encore is going to someone after me, so I want to make sure everything is in its right place here. Sit there. So then I need, we're going to start with top mount. In the sound test, I'm going to include both top mount and the, what I would call normal lattice blocks. That'd be the green ones where they have the full amount of lattice possible. Those are kind of the two marketed configurations, if you will, and I think will kind of give the biggest width to the sound tests I'm going to record. We're going to start with top mount though, which is my typical preference. Solid block 80. Okay, top. Is that 5 tops? Nope, that's 1 lattice. My demo lattice. Top block. Nope. Top block. There we go. It's the same as on the 65. You kind of have your rectangular ones for these back pockets and the more kind of half moon shaped for the front pockets, so identical there as well. Again, shout out mode for the quantities of scale here. Or economies of scale, not quantities of scale. Well, both, actually, I guess. I meant to say economy of scale. Oh, actually, these might be different top screws. I don't know if the top mount screws go into the wood or not, and just a little bit of the lattice block does stick out, like my finger runs into it. So that is probably why these pockets are here. Matthew is going to release a video of his own describing the design process and everything, in which he's going to talk a bit more about the choice to include force brake pads, but I wonder if that's speculating. I wonder if that's part of it, that the blocks here leave either just a bit of a gap or they're like the two sides are just kissing and you could get some resonance. Regardless, I'm building mine with the force break pads as that is the design intent, but you might hear a bit more about it in that video, which I will be sure to link to once it exists. So typically you would need to test your PCB, clip in your stabilizers, plate, switches, all that. We're just going to reuse this one, the Soundtests, being a direct comparison. I'm just going to use the exact same build. I will switch to the carbon fiber plate and mounting styles as mentioned. But that is all that. If you want to see this one, check out the Mode 65 build video where I actually assemble this. It is my Envoy PCB, so it's still the same PCB and stabs, but I put on the roller linear switches on the polypropylene plate. So those are the switches we'll be using for all of the sound testing today. That they are a hard to find switch. KBD fans says there will be a restock soon, which is exciting. But given that these are a rare switch with not much coverage, I'm going to stick with using them for the sound test. I think they are interesting. Okay. There we go. So, oh, these are magnetized heads. They're sticking to each other even. Goodness gracious. Okay, calm down. Settle down, everybody. Okay, magnetized. Good to know. Let's see. So these countersunk ones are going to be what you screw your plate and PCB together in hot swap configurations, I am going to reckon. So I'll get all of those out of there. These little stubby cap head ones, I assume are going to be for the daughter board. Oh, I did reuse daughter board screws. I'm going to take these daughter board screws and I am going to put them next to the 65 so that they go there. There's a spare. Actually, I'll keep the spare here. See, this is why I didn't want to get these mixed up. And then we have those. Okay, cool. 5 plus an extra. I'm glad this is all on video, so as I'm repacking this, if something like a screw is not where I expect it to be, I can just retrace my steps. I do that more often than y'all might imagine. Having all my builds on video is enormously helpful to me. Or all my builds, all my new builds. I rebuilt 2 keyboards in preparation for this one because I needed steel parts, specifically keycaps off of some. On that note, I don't know what keycaps I'm going to use yet. I kind of needed to see the board. I've got several options sitting behind me. I also asked my friends for input and mostly got a meme answer. So not super helpful, but I've got a couple thoughts. Feet we're gonna need imminently. Force brake pads we're gonna need like right now. So that's as easy as that. The keyboard, part of the keyboard is in the chassis now, so not too hard. Let me see, do these pieces of metal contact each other when I just set them together? Are those pockets enough? Oh yeah, that top and bottom piece, they're like just kissing each other. I bet that's exactly why these are included, but we will see in Matthew's video. So let me pull those out here. Oh, and actually before I move too far past my polypropylene plate here, all of these will come with FR4 plates in the box, but there will be POM, FR4, aluminum, carbon fiber, copper, polycarbonate, and polypropylene available. So lots of options. FR4 is the default, at least on the website as of now. That is, as all things, subject to change. Just scrolling through the website one more time here, making sure I hit all the high points, the two-tone wood, cherry front lip, and the stepped relief. That's what they call the design piece on the bottom. Yeah, it is crazy how tall this thing looks in the pictures on the website. It is not that tall in person. What an interesting thing. I think it looks tall because of the cherry lip, because once the cherry lip stops, it's the exact same front height as the 65, if not just a hair shorter. So there you go. Now, of course, it could be slightly taller because of the bottom and everything, but it is not as tall as it looks in the photos. Yeah, cool. Okay. Looking back at my question list here, what do I think of lattice blocks? What a great thing to ask while I'm getting ready to put them together. I think the lattice system is awesome. I think Mode really hit a home run there in a couple ways. The lattice system, especially in its current state. Now, I will say early on, I was probably not as big of a fan as I am now of the lattice system. Okay, actually, these are going to be trickier to stick on than I initially reckoned. Oh, no, actually, there's a fair bit of margin around. Never mind. There you go. As I was putting that down, it looked like the sticker was like exactly the right width, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to lock in here and make sure I put these on right. No, they're pretty easy, actually. Now that there are multiple hardnesses and top mount blocks, I do wish the top mount blocks had been out in time for the Loop TKL. Oh well. I think it's a home run. Mode took the initiative to work with a company like Carbon that is kind of one of those invisible companies. Like, other than the Adidas 4D shoes, you don't see a lot of Carbon products out there. And so taking advantage of working with a name like Carbon, but also doing an additive technology at scale, I think is so cool. Almost everything we see in keyboards is either subtractive manufacturing or injection molding, and this is a purely additive process to make these blocks. So it has allowed them to rapidly iterate, either based on community feedback or their own internal desires that happen to line up with customer feedback. It's always hard to say which came first in those sorts of situations. I think it's a home run because they are able to iterate so rapidly. Technologically, it's a cool thing, and that allows them to do things like introduce the top mount block without having to retool whole injection lines. So how do I feel about lattice? I think it's great, especially now that top mount is here. I feel like that was the biggest missing piece, but when you look at the boards that launched the lattice system, being Envoy was first. I think they've done a lot of boards. Being the one-piece design, top mount wouldn't have worked anyway. So I think they did the right prioritization. But now that we're seeing the 65 come back, we're seeing the Encore, the Sonnet, it got announced to get a lattice version and is largely unchanged and even backwards compatible with some parts, which is super cool that they were able to do all of that in one board. Okay, actually putting those on pretty well. There's not the straightest stickers I've ever put on, but they're also not visible once assembled, so I think my minor placement discrepancies are probably forgivable. Yeah, I think lattice is awesome. And even, I just griped about the Loop not having the top mount option. With the stiffest blocks, it's kind of the same thing. So I'm totally happy with my Loop. I've been typing on it all day today, actually. It is the board currently on my desk. So, winner. I'm into it. So we've got our force break die cut pads put on. What is the built weight in Freedom units is the next question. I won't be reporting it in Freedom units. That's a bad system. I will happily report it in metric, though, once I button things up here. So this is interesting. The top and bottom don't hold to each other in any way. So I'm actually going to flip this around. I'm going to put the top down, and I'm going to angle this into place. That actually hadn't occurred to me that there's no alignment features between the top and bottom except for the bit of the lattice blocks that are sticking out. But it has registered quite positively on those. There's just a bit of a gap, or not a gap, a step all the way around, which there is supposed to be. That's by design. Okay, that's maybe the easiest keyboard closing experience I've had ever. That's super great. Oh, and I can feel the whole kind of sandwich compressing. Actually, let me loosen that a little bit intentionally. As I tighten this down, I could feel like one level of stiffness where I'm sure I hit the lattice block, and then it got like stiffer again, which I bet is where I hit the die cut pad. Yeah, exact same feeling in this corner. So I'm going to say I'm pro die cut pads in this one. That seems like a strong design choice to me, especially having them so close to the screws. I think is a win. Once I get this tightened down, I will look at it from the sides to make sure it hasn't created any gaps, having that additional pressure in the corners. But I think that was a good move on everyone's part, whoever decided to do that, Matthew or Mode, I do not know. And feet, there we go. And these just have a little circular feature in the bottom to clear the head of the screw. Otherwise, doesn't get much easier than that. And these are injection molded, not printed. I sounded disappointed when I said that. I don't care. Just reporting the facts. Because one of the boards did have 3D print. Oh, the Envoy, the Founders Edition, had 3D printed feet that then never really ended up shipping. Yeah, injection, par for the course, whatever. All is well. And there you go. I mean, pretty easy. Granted, again, I had the PCB and stuff prepped already, but easy peasy. Keycaps. Okay. I've got on standby here behind me GMK Noir, Botanical, the desert base with kind of the cream colored alphas. I've got both of Mod Musings Modern Materials sets. Seeing this now, I don't think those are the right choice. The stone and cement, I don't think with black that'll look great. I've also got Chlodny, the Key Machine, second one, German scientist, Claude Chodny, whatever. I feel like the burgundy of that set wouldn't... Let's just look at it. Let me just grab it. Let's take a look together. Set number 7 of 250 of Chlodny, whatever. Gorgeous set from Neflock. I'm super into the Key Machine sets so far. No, not the right color red to go with this. Walnut's already a pretty warm wood. Botanical Desert. I know Noir is going to look great. Come on. No, I don't think so. I think Noir is the right choice. Oops, that's the wrong shift, but you know, whatever. Just want to see like some color close by. Man, it's the cream that's throwing me off. Oh, the legends are green. I was like, I look up the keycap sets I'm thinking about because oftentimes there's great pictures on Instagram and Geekhack and stuff of people putting, but there's very few boards that are all walnut. So like finding inspo and like proof that a color would look good was tricky. I think Noir. Yep. We're gonna go with Noir. I may change my mind. Who knows what will appear in the sound tests. Although I am filming those like tomorrow. It is Sunday, May 26, 2024 today. I have already had this keyboard for too long because I got sick shortly after they sent it to me. I was supposed to film this a week ago and did not because I had no voice. Yeah, Noir just the novelties and everything. I'm not going to use any of the cream accents, I don't think. Because basically, like, all the pictures of this have had wob on it, which would be a great, fine choice, I think. Oh, and I could do wob and use my wob essentials with R5. That with the cherry. Oh, I think my wob set's actually deployed currently, which I guess I can always undeploy. Wob essentials here. Dang, I think that would look really nice. Shoot. Because now that I see Noir sitting here, like the cream. It's just not quite right. But everyone's seen this with wob on it. All the images are wob. I can do wob later if I want. Noir. Do Noir. Noir it is. And I do think the Noir novelties fit the design style of this board well. Yes, we're gonna do that. Escape. Do I want to use? I have the Salvin. No, the 65. These are all gonna be actual keys. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do an accent or a novelty. Escape. I think. No, that's a little too much. I'm gonna do super function. I think that's nice. Having it kind of weighted towards the bottom row helps accent the cherry lip, I think. Still a little bit of sickness somewhere in my body. So much better than last week, though. Goodness gracious, that was not fun. Oops. Settle down. Thank you. Are the switches sitting flat? I will say polypropylene actually may be like too soft with lattice mount. It's very flexible. I really like polypropylene plates still, but do be warned, they're very soft. I see like these switches moving every time I like. Anyway, caps and tab. So other than built weights, what other questions do we have here still? A difference in typing sound or feel. So sound will definitely be in the sound tests. Feel there shouldn't be, aside from the actual shape of the board. Okay, now as I'm seeing Noir go on here, I'm feeling much better about this choice. This looks awesome. Backspace. Where's the black? Return, there we go. Yeah, so we'll look at that in a moment. How loose does it feel in a Sonnet 65 or Envoy case? I will check that here. Oh yeah, I guess this is going to come with a carrying case. Isn't that interesting? Unless I just missed it in the packing list here. The way it ships leads me to believe there will not be a carrying case with it, though. Chassis, plate, PCB, daughter board, mounting block pack, feed pack, fastener pack, screwdriver, keycap and switch puller, die cut, force brake kits, acoustic foam kits, custom packaging. Oh, and specifically called out, does not include switch stabilizers, lubrication, keycaps, or carrying case. How about that? So I don't know if there will be a specific carrying case designed for this board given its limited nature. So really good call out to check if it fits current mode cases well or not. We'll make sure to do that. And the other one I had here, will it be available through EU vendors? No, this is being sold through Mode specifically, but on screen here I will put the 2 separate drop times for it. They're doing a split drop, one designed for one part of the world, one designed for the other part of the world, so everyone kind of has a shot at getting this board during a reasonable hour. But as far as I know, they are all being vended through Mode. Damn, that looks good. Yeah, Noir was the choice, and no accent return. This is, yes, that's great. Whew, love when that works out. Unceremoniously, right back to the data here. So this is aluminum, walnut, PP plate, GMK keycaps. I feel like my scale's rocking. Oh, never mind, okay. 1,252 grams. So there you go. Convert that yourself, nerds. I would say, given the other 65s in my collection, that feels typical. It doesn't feel light or heavy. It feels great. I imagine the copper one will feel very heavy. I think I picked one up at KeyCon, and you know, it's got a copper bottom, so. I am someone who rests my thumbs on the fronts of keyboards when I'm typing, so like the cherry lip, kind of going back to the question about sound or feel, I like the way that feels. I've got a nice little shelf for my thumbs there. I'm into that. Sound is the same. It is like, the sound tests will tell us for sure, but I am not perceiving a big difference here. Maybe the space bar sounds a little fuller, which having more material around it would lend itself to. Yeah, you can see how bouncy the polypropylene is, even with top mount and the side camera there. No, I really don't think it sounds any different. I'll be interested to see the sound tests. Those are as educational to me as they are to y'all. But I do like having that front lip, though. This is, for the record, a keyboard I plan to buy, not this exact one. I do plan on buying one of these, both to support Matthew and because she gorgeous. Look at her. Probably this exact colorway, if I'm being honest. But that's nice, having that little shelf there. I'm into that. So, you know, see the sound tests to be sure about sound or feel. Carrying case. Let's see here. That is an Envoy carrying case. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got Sonnet, original 65, and an Envoy case here. Now, there could be a specific one for this board, in which case this test is completely pointless unless you want to reuse a case, which I think is the spirit of the question here. So, there you go. Oh, I clearly brought my Holy 60 in this to the last meetup. There's one of my little meetup cards. Not gonna fit in an original 65 case. Myth busted, I suppose. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess the Envoy ain't gonna fit either, because that's an even smaller case, so we'll rule that one out. The Sonnet case, though, let's see here. I think the Sonnet case also looks different now. This is the older style of Mode case, but the cutout will be the same size, so that should be okay. Oh, you know, actually, that looks pretty close. Ooh, not wide enough. The Sonnet also has quite thin side bezels, so unfortunately that's not obvious from the front. It is canted up at an angle. So, if you're hoping this to be your throw it in a backpack and travel board, let's hope Mode comes out with a dedicated one, because it is wider than any of their current boards. There you go, with except for the TKLs, of course. So, great community question there. That is not something I would have thought of checking. Is there a product page for the Encore? There is not. What if I go to the 65 extra parts? Is there, there's a carrying case for the 65, but again, that's going to be narrower. Interesting. Well, we'll have to see. Special projects tab, is it in there? Learn more takes me to Matthew's site. Okay, well, there you go. I'm unsure. I will ask. If I get an answer in time, I will put it on screen here. Oh, let's see. Typing sound and feel, case, EU vendors, Also got some miscellaneous questions. How did I get so cool and handsome? I was bullied a lot, so I'm nice to everybody. And Gordon Freeman inspired how I do my facial hair and hair on the top of my head. So shout out Valve. And do I prefer nuggets or tenders? I'm a tender guy. I'm gonna be honest. I love a chicken nugget. Nothing wrong with a chicken nugget. Tenders, yeah, I see. You usually get a little bit more texture. So with that, we are ready for sound tests here. So I'm gonna record 8 sound tests. Each plate in each keyboard in top and lattice mount. So that's polypropylene top and lattice, carbon fiber top and lattice in both boards. And then editing Ian will have the brain power to figure out how to combine those in the most interesting ABs possible for a suite of sound tests for you to enjoy following this. So thank you again to Mode and Matthew for trusting me with one of your prototypes. This is beautiful, Matthew. Excellent job. I'm very happy with how this looks. Thank all of you for watching. If you have any further questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I read all of them. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you loved it. It is free, and you can unsubscribe the moment you're bored of watching a guy talk about keyboards. Thanks for watching.